It's Will. It's Adventures in Anime. I just watched Goku Midnight Eye. This came out in 1989. It's a two-part OVA. OVA is, I think, original video animation. I've been trying not to do a ton of research for these episodes because I want it to be just like my honest reaction instead of me like going through all this information about who's who, what's what, and everything. It's like I said, it's a two-part series. Each one is about 50 minutes, I think. So I really liked this. That's the first thing I'll say. Some people have criticized this from what I've seen on. I was just looking up the name of the director and the year it came out earlier before we filmed this, and I saw some kind of like blogs, reviews, whatever about like people think it's really trashy. It is sleazy, but that's the thing I liked about it. I like sleazy, or I guess like the point of view of the filmmaker is not necessarily sleazy. And if you look at movies like Maniac, Escape from New York, like these take place in worlds of like excessive sleaze, but they're not made from the perspective of reveling in sleaze. Right? It's an examination of, or like a exploration of that world. So this show takes place, and it's kind of very cyberpunky. It takes place in Tokyo, but it's not like super crazy future world where there's like all these spaceships flying around. Like it's a grounded kind of understanding of Tokyo. It's just like a further advanced version of what Tokyo was in 1989, but people have body modifications, which is really cool, and you can't necessarily see right away who has what body modifications and what they do. So like there's one guy who has a metal arm, but it's like under a jacket, so you can't see it, but it's got these metal like wires in it, so it extends out, can punch people who are really far away. There's a woman who has motorcycle handles on her back and like can get down on all fours and like run really fast like a motorcycle, and people can ride her. There's a guy who's just like this giant beast. There's like metal mosquitoes who have anesthetic in them, so they like can knock people out and kill them. So the plot of the first episode is police officers who are investigating this mysterious guy who might be an arms dealer start killing themselves. So this private eye, who is a former cop, comes in to investigate, and there's like a naked woman with peacock feathers, and it is very like I said, sleazy. It's kind of trashy, like it's a violent world, it's a very sexual world. There's lots of naked women, there's lots of very masculine men, like it's looking at that, but also seems to be very aware of the fact that it's looking at that. I think it's the same director as Wicked City, which I've heard a lot about, and Logan, who you may know if you watch our channel, who's a big anime fan, I think he owns Wicked City on Laserdisc and or VHS and has recommended it to me before. Yoshiake Kawajiri, I think is his name. My handwriting is really terrible right here and I'm struggling to read it. But so these cops start killing themselves. This private investor comes in to investigate, and they try to get him to kill himself, and he gets really badly injured, but he manages to stay alive, and when he wakes up, someone has put a fake eye into his head. I mean, it's like a robot eye that is connected to every single computer and database in the world. So, like, if he so desired, he could just launch every nuke in the world and destroy the world. Like, he can access database and find out information about people he's talking to, like, in real time. He can x-ray, like, their clothes and see, like, whether they have weapons and how he needs to fight them. He also has this really awesome weapon that's a pole that's, like, this big, and it extends, and it gets really long. Like, unbelievably long at points. He's like jumping off of buildings with it, and it shoots lasers, and it can extend really quickly and like break people's bones and stuff like that. And so the first episode is all about these police officers killing themselves, and this guy gets this eye, and all this weird stuff is happening, and it's very like ontological, because obviously it's looking at body modifications, who you become when your body becomes modified, how, like, whether or not the modified part can be controlled by someone who is not you, and like posthumanism, cyborg, this kind of like cyberpunk themes that are really interesting. And then the second episode, I assumed that it would be basically like a movie because it's two parts, right? The second episode is just another serialized episode, and you never find out, as far as I can tell, who put this crazy eye in the guy's head, which I thought would be like the mystery of the second episode. The second episode is about something completely different. And the second episode is really dark. There's like incestuous stuff going on, and like military industrial complex, and like implanted memories. It's like Total Recall kind of stuff. And it's really dark and violent and brutal, so it will appeal to people who like that kind of like really dark, violent cyberpunk stuff. And as an entity in and of itself, I enjoyed the second episode, but I really wanted to know what was happening with the first episode. Like, I wanted a resolution on all these questions that were raised, and I know now, 30 years after this came out, that I'm probably not going to get it unless I go and read the manga, because it is based on manga. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if they were planning on doing a bunch of these and they didn't get the funding for it, or I'm not really sure. But I did really like both of these. I just wanted more. This is a world that I really like. Like, I really like cyberpunk stuff. I really like very dark stuff. I really like very brooding stuff. I like stuff that revels in or examines trash, I guess, like trashy culture. And I really like the style of animation in this, because as I'm learning, there are myriad styles of animation, and this was really cool, and I really enjoyed it. So if you can recommend more stuff like this, I'll probably watch Wicked City. I'm a little bit worried it's going to be like really rapey, because I've heard things about it. But and that's not really my cup of tea, as you may know if you watched the GOKU 13 episode of this show. But Goku Midnight Eye, like I said, I really enjoyed it. I like the cyberpunk stuff. It was a cool world. It was interesting mystery. So this is Adventures in Anime. My name is Will, and we will see you next time.